So this is the time of year where GAMSAT scores come out, and this is usually where people are either a little bit confused, not sure whether they've got a good score, not sure how to use their score and whether to resit, or maybe you're coming to this having not sat it yet and you're trying to work out exactly where the bar is for what you're aiming for to get into a really good university. So for those of you who aren't familiar, the GAMSAT in 20 seconds is the Graduate Medical School Admissions Test. It's an Australian test, but these universities in the UK require it. There are 2 sittings every year, March and September. Results come out 2 months after, and you can sit it as many times as you want and take the highest score, which is valued for 2 years. So for those of you who've received your score, you may want to know how it's calculated. It's basically the first section plus the second section plus twice the third section, and then take the average of that, so divide that by 4, and that will give you your overall score. So the keen-eyed amongst you will have seen that section 3 is basically weighted as double. Now ACER, the Australian company that make GAMSAT, are a bit mysterious as to how exactly your score is calculated based on that average score, but they give you roughly what that number means corresponding to the percentile of people who have sat the exam. So it's not the clearest, but it gives you an idea of how you've done compared to everybody else. So for example, using this table, if you got a 62, it means that you are in the top 40% compared to other test takers. So once you've got your score, you're going to need to make a decision. Firstly, whether you're going to sit it again, but more importantly, what universities you're going to apply to based on those scores. Remember that graduate applications have about a 3% success rate. So every single step of the med school application is so crucial, and it's really important that you choose the right 4 medical schools, one of the most critical parts. If you want to find out how you can optimize all 5 steps of the med school application, I recommend that you check out this video here. But firstly, let's look at what to do if you get an average score. So if you score between 55 and 58, that puts you in the middle of the pack, and you may want to consider applying to certain universities. You might want to consider Scott Gem, which is the University of St Andrews and the University of Dundee combined. In 2023, an overall of 57 was required to receive an interview invitation, and applicants also required a score of at least 50 in each section. At Liverpool, graduate medical applicants are ranked by GAMSAT, and in 2023, again, an overall score of 55 was required to be invited to interview. Then we have the Ulster University at Belfast, which only began accepting students in 2021, so there's not a lot of data at this stage to predict cut-off scores for interviews, but in previous years, the threshold score has been about 54, 55, but keep in mind that this may change in the coming years. Now let's look at where to apply if you've got a good GAMSAT score. So I would class that in the 59 to 62 range. Now Nottingham is one of the few universities that doesn't take that formula of the double weighting of section 3 that we talked about, and they actually use an average score of all 3 sections weighted evenly. For 2023 entry, you needed an average score of 56 to be invited to interview. This is lower than it has ever been, as the cutoff score for 2022 was 61, and for 2021 it was 59. So bear in mind that this could just be an anomaly, but it has gone down based on the average in the 2 prior years. Then we have St George's, which in 2023 the cutoff was the lowest in its history. Applicants required a score of 56 to get an interview. In past years, the cutoff score has been really higher, with an overall score of 61 required for 2022 and 60 required for 2021 entry. Now finally, we have the high scorers, which is 63 and above. And if you find yourself in this bracket, firstly, congratulations, because it's hard to make it into the top quartile and it is a difficult exam. At FutureDoc, we actually do see a lot of students improve when we give them the right resources and the ways of looking at this exam to improve. So it can be done and you can get there. And if you'd like some help, like I say, I recommend that you check out that video we talked about before, where when you are applying as a grad, your chances, like I say, are 1 in 34. That is incredibly competitive. You have to nail absolutely every single step of the application and perform very highly in each to make sure that you're within a chance of getting in. On the FutureDoc program, 50% of the students are grads because they understand not just how hard it is, but also how impactful something like the program can be. We have so many students that have gone through, 3, 4 applications, some as many as 5, and then they've come to us after failing all those times, and at the first time with us, on the 6th attempt sometimes, they have got in at the first time of asking with us. And that is how having somebody who knows what they're doing and can just do those things that will tweak the application to make it as strong as possible will make a massive difference to your success. Going from people who've never got even to interview or have got to interview and bombed every time to getting 4 interviews and 4 offers. That is the difference that a great application coach and a solid program can make on your application and chances of success. So if you scored a 63 or above, that means that you're in a very good position to get an interview. But it means that also not to get complacent, because all the other elements of the application need to be on point as well. So you still need to make sure that you're applying strategically and doing all the other bits. But the remaining GAMSAT university that you might want to consider applying to if you've got this score is Swansea. For Swansea University, the GAMSAT is a key aspect of the admissions process. and high scores are required. For 2023 entry, the cutoff score was to secure an interview was 63. However, there are no minimum A-level or GCSE requirements, and they accept degrees from any discipline, which makes Swansea an ideal choice for applicants with very strong GAMSAT scores who are from a non-traditional or non-scientific background. Then the final two courses we're going to talk about are Plymouth and Exeter. However, they are undergraduate courses, so they are 5-year degrees rather than the 4-year degrees. However, they still require GAMSAT for graduate applicants to apply. So you've got to remember that when you are applying, if you hold a degree, you are considered a graduate applicant, whether you're applying to an undergrad or a grad program. So even if you're applying to, let's pick a medical school at random, like Hull and York Medical School, that's only a 5-year course, so it's only an undergraduate course. If you're applying as a grad, you still are considered a grad. So they will take a subset of those places available and allocate those to grads, and you'll be competing with other grads. Same if you're applying to a 5-year course to a university that offers both. So let's say Southampton, they have a 4-year course and a 5-year course. If you want to apply to the 5-year course, you're not competing with every single of those 200 places. You're competing for a subset of those, and you'll be competing with other grads. So even if you are saying like, okay, I just want to go to the same course that all the undergrads are applying to, you are still considered a grad, and you are still put in a pool to compete against other graduate applicants. Anyway, back to the program. So Plymouth has a really high cutoff score. So for 2023 entry, the cutoff score was an overall of 65. And you also had to meet an individual threshold for each section, which makes it even more challenging. The cutoff for 2022 was also 65 and was 66 for 2021. So you can see that they have a high requirement and high standards for their applications. Now, Exeter University uses the GAMSAT for people who are applying as grads or have been 2 full years since completing their A-level. In 2023, the overall score required was 63. It was even higher in previous years, including 65 for 2022 and 66 for 2021. Regardless again of whether you scored badly or whether you scored well, you probably want to consider sitting the UCAT. Most applicants will do that, and that will again effectively increase your chances and open up many more universities. Or finally, you may want to consider sitting the GAMSAT again. As I said, on the Future program, we help lots of people who've not done well, then they come to us, we help them see the light for how to do well in this exam, and then they go away and score really well. If you are not at the stage where you've even considered the GAMSAT yet, I would massively recommend it, especially if the 4-year options are the only options available to you. You effectively double the number of universities available to you. You take much more control of the application and really increase your chance of success. And like I say, if you've done well, it's really important now that you focus on all the remaining parts of the application to make sure that you get in that top 3% of applicants and really stand out from the competition to maximize your chance of success. So finally, I have some resources available to you. If you want to know what the key aspects of the med school application are and kind of want to find out how to maximize them, maybe even get our help, you can check out this video here. Otherwise, we have an entire GAMSAT playlist that's going to teach you fundamentals and all the stuff that you need to know to make sure you understand what the exam involves, all the key dates and all that sort of stuff, to make sure you're fully clued up before deciding to go into it in the first place, or to just refresh your memory if it's been a while. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in one of those videos.